What is up, my crafty friends? My name is Carrie and welcome back to my channel. Whether it's your first visit to my channel or you're a returning subscriber, I want to say welcome, my friend. It means the world to me that you're joining me for another fun DIY video today. Now, I don't know if you are picking up on the little hints that are in the background or not, but I've totally changed out my backdrop here and I cannot wait to show y'all what I've got in store for you for today's video. So I've teamed up with my girl Keisha over at Sweet Urban Rose and we have challenged each other to bring y'all another Kirklands dupe. Now wait until you see what I've got planned. I'm not even kidding. I even kind of blew my own mind with this little dupe because y'all, I did not pack just one. I didn't pack just 2, 3. I'm giving y'all 4 DIYs in this one video. Wait until you see the dupes that I've got for y'all. It is just gonna totally blow your mind. I'm so excited about how they turned out. And yeah, if you enjoyed this video, be sure to give it a big thumbs up. And if you super duper enjoy it, be sure to share it with your friends so they can learn how you're making all these fun and fantastic DIYs. Thanks so much for everybody that has shared my videos. Really means the world to me and it totally helps my channel grow. So thanks so much for doing that for me, y'all. If you're not already subscribed to my channel, be sure to hit that subscribe button down below and turn on all those notifications. That way when I upload a new video or decide to spontaneously go live on YouTube, you will not miss out. That's enough talking, y'all. Let's start DIYing.
Okay, the first project we're going to work on is this wooden beaded pumpkin wall plaque from Kirklands. It is $36.99 on the website right now. Okay, so we're going to start off with this jack-o'-lantern wood cutout from Dollar Tree. I'm also going to use a package of the metal words from Dollar Tree. I've got a couple of the ceramic pumpkins. We're not going to use the pumpkins though, we're just going to use the leaves. I'm also going to use one of the cookie sheets from the Dollar Tree, as well as some paints from Arteza, an orange, a brown, and a red, and also some antique wax from Waverly. The first thing we want to do is to take our Waverly antique wax and we're going to use this as a stain for our pumpkin. So I'm going to wipe this on first very lightly, and after it has set for just a second, I'm going to take a damp paper towel and wipe most of it off. Now you do want to go with the grain of the wood while you're staining. That'll just make for a more uniform coverage. Okay, now we're going to set this to the side to dry and start working on our words. I'm going to be using the welcome sign from this package of metal words today, and these again did come from the Dollar Tree. Now I did not have the perfect shade of orange that I was going for, so I decided to mix some of my colors together. So I used mostly orange, and then I added a drop of my brown and then a drop of my red to get this sort of burnt, rusty orange color. Now you can use a paintbrush to paint your words on, or you can use a dauber. I did find that the dauber works much easier. Okay, now we're going to set this to the side to dry. Okay, so now I want the grain of my wood to show just a little bit more. So to raise that grain a little bit, I'm just taking some steel wool and rubbing over the top. Okay, so now it's time to work on our stem, and that's where our cookie sheet is going to come in handy. So I'm just going to look at my Kirklands inspiration piece and trace a size and shape that is similar to the one in the picture. I'm going to check it for a good fit, and I think it looks pretty good. So now I'm going to do it twice because I want a front side and a back side, and I'm just using my utility scissors to cut that out. Now I do want to sort of smooth this out a little bit, so I'm just taking my mechanical pencil. You can use a skewer or anything else round to sort of smooth that out. We're going to have a front side and a back side. And we're just going to hot glue this on. Now I do want you to be aware that the foil does get a little bit warm, so if you have a lower temp glue gun, by all means use that. Okay, looks pretty good. Okay, so now I'm going to take some of my black and gray paint from Arteza and just sort of dirty up this stem so it doesn't look so new. I'm also going to throw in a little bit of my antique wax. And I think this looks so much better and much more like our inspiration piece. Okay, so now we're going to do the same thing to our 2 leaves. And these leaves just pretty much twist off. We're going to set these little pumpkins to the side because we will be using those for another project in this video. And I'm just going to take the same paint that I used for the stem and just dab on to antique these leaves a little bit, just so that they match our stem. I do want those ends to be curled up just a little bit, so I'm just going to roll those around my paintbrush. The beads I'm going to be using today came from Amazon. I'm using the 12mm size. There were a pack of 300 in 10, 12, and 14mm size, and they were only $9.79, and I'll put a link to these down below. I'm using my dual temp Surebonder hot glue gun today, and I do have this on low temp just because my fingers are in close contact with this hot glue and I don't want to burn myself, but I do want to have a nice strong bond, so I'm using the Tough Sticks. Now you can see here that I started off gluing these one by one by one, and y'all, I'm not even kidding. This is a long process. It's very long and very tedious. A couple of tips that I can give you is take your pencil and outline first where you want to glue. If you have a lot of patience, by all means glue them on one by one just like I'm doing here. But this is very time consuming because we're going to go all the way around and then we're going to outline the edges as well. So let me show you what I decided to do instead, and this saved me a lot of time. So I'm just taking my glue gun and I'm working in about a 2-inch section. So if you'll lay just a little bit of glue down on your pencil line, that way you can get maybe 5 or 6 beads in at a time. Now you don't want to work in too large of a section though, because if you do, your glue is going to dry before you can get your beads on. And y'all, this was a huge time saver. Okay, so we're just going to keep going all the way around our pencil line. And to be honest, I'm not really worried about staying precisely on the line here because I'm going to share a little hack with you. So after you've gone all the way around, if you'll take a warm blow dryer and just hit your beads, that will allow you to straighten out anything that is not like super straight. You can see here my lines are not the best in the world, but in the finished product you'll see what a huge difference it makes when you can straighten those out with your blow dryer. So don't obsess too much over trying to keep everything super duper straight. Also, when I was gluing on my beads, I did not butt those up straight against each other. I did leave a tiny little gap in between each one. Okay, I think it's coming along pretty good, don't you? So next we're going to hot glue our leaves on, and I'll just put a little drop of hot glue on each side and glue those on each end. And the very last thing that we need to do is to glue our welcome sign on. You'll see in the finished product I did decide to highlight the edges of my welcome just to make them pop against the wood of our sign. And I think it turned out so stinking cute, don't you? I've got it hanging right on my front entry hall tree and I just love it. I would never pay $36.99 when I could make it for less than $2. Moving on to project number 2, which is a painted monogram pumpkin plaque. They are $29.99 on Kirkland's website. I'm going to be using one of these wood cutouts again from the Dollar Tree, and this is the one that has the segments on it. I'm just going to pull off the raffia bow, and I'm going to use the same paint that we used in our welcome sign, and presto changeo, boom, she's all painted. If you've got a vinyl cutter, you can totally just cut out a piece of vinyl with your monogram on it, but I wanted to do the transfer method so that everybody could do this project. So I just printed off the Daydream font in the size that I needed, and I traced my pencil lines on the back. And now I'm just going to rub over my pencil lines in the front, and that's going to transfer my monogram. Okay, looks pretty good. This actually comes out really dark. So now I'm going to take one of my Arteza paint pens and I'm going to use my white one for this. give it a good shake, shake, shake. Outline my monogram. I'm going to let this dry, and then I'm going to put on a second coat. Okay, so it's all dry, and now we are going to do something with this stem. I did not like that you could see the hole in the back, so I'm actually just going to use some raffia and my glue gun and just wrap this all the way around it so that that hole is hidden. This is a super easy solution for that hole. Okay, let's trim off the back, and y'all, we're almost done with this project. The very last thing that we need to do is to add our black and white buffalo check bow. Now, I picked up this ribbon from Hobby Lobby. It was $2.99, and I used my 40% off coupon, and I think it ended up being like $1 and change. So I've got a 16-inch piece of ribbon, and I'm just going to use the little rabbit ear method, make my little rabbit ears, and fold them around itself, and boom, we've got us a cute, cute little bow. You can either dovetail your ends or just snip them at an angle, and I'm actually just going to snip them at an angle. So stinking cute. Oops, my tails are not even. Fixed. Done. Okay, so cute. So let's get this glued on. And the only thing that we've got left to do is to glue our raffia hanger on to the back. And y'all, this second project is totally done. I'm just going to use my raffia and pull off about an 18-inch or 20-inch piece. I honestly did not measure. 2 little drops of hot glue on the back, and she's ready to hang. So cute. I absolutely love this. So the one from Kirklands was $29.99, and mine ended up costing $1 and around 25 cents. And time for project number 3, which is a galvanized metal pumpkin basket. The one from Kirklands is $16.99. I'm going to take one of the little pumpkin baskets from the Dollar Tree and also another piece of my cookie sheet. We're just going to use our pencil and trace around our cookie sheet, and then use our utility scissors and cut it out. Now we will need 2 of these, so you want to flip over onto the back side and do the other side the same way. We'll just use our utility scissors and cut these out. Next, we want to take a dish towel that we folded up, and let's check one more time to make sure that it's going to fit, and it is a perfect fit. Yay, I love it when that happens. So I'm going to use the end of my paintbrush for this, and we're just going to emboss the segments on to our pumpkin. Now you don't want to press too terribly hard because it will go through, but you do want to press enough so that you get a nice embossing effect. And I actually like the debossed side better than I do the embossed side, so I think that's the side that I'm going to use. So it's totally up to you if you want the embossed side where the lines are going in, or if you want the debossed side where they're going out. And I've got both of my pieces finished. I'm just going to give them one last little dry fit. And see, look, you can see I pressed a little bit too hard on this one and it did go through, but it's totally all right. So now we're just going to use our glue gun, and again I do have this on a low temp because the metal does get a little bit warm if you use a super hot glue. Okay, it's looking pretty good. So next I want to cover the sides, and I'm going to use the same cookie sheet, and I'm just going to use the actual box as my guide, measure out that distance. And this was roughly a 2x3 piece. We're going to do 2 of these. And I just want to show you what I did here. So the edges were a little bit sharp. So I'm just going to use my ruler here and turn over a nice edge so that it's just a little bit smoother and not so sharp. I don't want anyone getting cut on this. And this also makes it a little bit stronger. We're just going to roll that edge over just like that. Now it's a lot smoother. Make sure everything is pressed down, and we'll repeat the process for the other one. And now we're just going to take our hot glue and run a little bead on each side of our edges and glue that on as well. And again, I do have my dual temp glue gun on low. And if my measurements are correct, this should be a perfect fit. Okay, now we'll repeat the process for the other side. Now, one final thing that I want to do is just to lay down these edges and make them a little bit smoother. This cookie sheet does have a tendency to be a little bit sharp, so if you just take the edge of your pencil and burnish that, then you can eliminate any sharp edges. Next, I'm going to use my Arteza metallic paints. And I'm going to use the silver first. I just want to tone down the silver that's on the cookie sheet. And I'm also going to use the same silver to paint the inside of my box. I want to make this look like it's one piece of metal. And I'll be honest, I only put one coat on this. So now I'm just going to use the same paintbrush and dab on the silver. Next, I'm going to take some of the dark metallic brown and just hit the edges to make that look like it's rusted. Just dabbing that paint on. Not even really worrying if it gets onto the silver. Okay, that turned out pretty good. And went all the way around and also on the sides. Next, I want to do the same thing with my leaf. Again, we're going to save that last pumpkin for another project in this video. I'm just going to use that same silver and also the dark brown to antique that leaf so that it matches my pumpkin. For the handle, I'm going to be using one of these green foam rollers. Now, I did go ahead and cut out one section here just to make sure that it was going to set flat. And to do that, I just pulled down the little metal piece that's in there. And I cut up about 1/2 inch middle ways. And then I also cut across. That's going to give us that groove. This should help our handle to set flat. Now we'll just bend this into the shape of our handle. And I'll show you how this is going to set flat. So the little white dots there are actually what we're going to use to glue this on. See those little white dots right there? That's where we're going to put our glue. And again, you do want to use a lower temp glue gun for this, because if you use a hot glue, it is totally going to melt your foam roller. So if you've got a low temp glue gun, definitely use that. I'm just going to put a little bit of hot glue onto those dots. And we're going to glue this on. After it's all cooled off, next we're going to paint it using our same dark brown paint that we used in our edges. One thing that I love about this really nice metallic paint from Arteza is it coats like a dream. It only took one coat of this dark metallic brown to cover up the green. I know it looks a little crazy at the moment, but just trust me, it's going to get better. Okay, so now we're going to attach our leaf on. And I'm honestly just wrapping this wire around the handle. And then I'm bending it up so that it sort of has some movement to it. I don't like them when the leaves are just totally flat. That looks much better. Now I'm going to twist the edges. And now we're ready to paint the bottom. I'm going to use the same dark metallic brown to paint the bottom that I painted the handle and that I distressed the edges with. And y'all, this project is almost done. I love this so much. This is going to look so stinking cute sitting on my shelf, and a much better bargain for $125 versus $16.99 for the one from Kirklands. Okay, y'all, moving on to our fourth and final project. This is going to be the orange, blue, and cream pumpkin topiary. The one from Kirklands is $89.99, but we are going to attempt to make a miniature version for a fraction of the price. We're going to start off with just some random glass jars that I had laying around my house. I've got a little ramekin dish here. This comes in a set of 3 at the Dollar Tree. I've also got this set of 3 candle holders. I've got some pickle jar lids. I mean, pretty much anything that you can think of to stack on top of each other. You could also use one of these little miniature terracotta pots. This is all going to be painted, so we're just looking for shapes right now. Feel free to go as big or small as you want to. I've even got these groovy looking little fancy yogurt jars. It's totally up to you the shape that you want to use. I've also got one of these little trinket trays from the Dollar Tree. So I think I'm going to use the ramekin dish, the fancy yogurt dish, and also the trinket tray. But you just use whatever you've got laying around your house. It's all going to be painted black, so it's not going to matter what you've got underneath it. I think I'm going to do this shape right here. So now we're going to use our tough sticks with our Sure Bonder hot glue gun. We're just going to glue all of these pieces together. Now let's go give this a coat of black spray paint and then come back. While my stand finishes drying, I'm going to start working on my pumpkins. I'm going to have a white one, a blue one, and an orange one. I'm going to use my little dauber here to paint it all, and presto changeo, boom, they're all painted. Be sure to let these dry really well, because when we start putting our antique wax over them, you don't want that paint to come off. So I'm just going to start off by adding a little bit of water into the grooves of my pumpkins. I want my wax to just stick in those areas, but I don't want it to be too dark and too concentrated, so that's why I'm wiping it down with my wet paper towel first. I'm just going to continue to hit the grooves and some of the dents in these pumpkins with my antique wax, and then I'm using my damp paper towel to wipe off most of it. I just want to sort of grungy it up a little bit, but I don't want too much. So we'll go all the way around our blue pumpkin, and then we'll do the same thing for our white one and our orange one. And it's totally up to you how much grunge you want to put on here. Okay, I think it looks really good. So now let's repeat the process for the white one and the orange one. Okay, y'all, now it's time to glue everything together, and we are almost done with this project. Again, I'm using my tough sticks to glue everything down because I want to make sure that it stays in place. And y'all, this is turning out so stinking cute. But I've got one more detail that I want to add, and that is this cute little buffalo check ribbon. I know the one from our inspiration piece doesn't have it, but I think this just totally sets this off, don't you? Okay, now let's take a look at them side by side. So the one from Kirklands was $89.99, and our miniature version was just $4.50. Y'all, I am so in love with how everything turned out. I saved a boatload of money using things I found at the Dollar Tree to dupe all of these Kirklands Fall Decor pieces. I know they are not an exact match, but I love them so much. The Topiary is probably my favorite.
that does it for today's video, y'all. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to give it a big thumbs up because that would mean the world to me. And if you really, really liked it, don't forget to share it with your friends. That totally helps my channel grow. Thanks so much to everybody that has helped share my videos. It really means the world to me. Now, also don't forget to let me know down in the comments below which one of these DIYs was your fave. I'm honestly totally digging that Topiary. I know it's a much smaller version than the Kirklands Dupe, but it is just so spot on, and I love it because I can use it on any of the shelves or even in my bookcases or even just sitting on my counter, and it's just so versatile. I can't wait to make more of these. So let me know down in the comments below which one is your favorite. Don't forget to check out Keisha's video too and see what she's gonna do for us from the Kirklands website as well. So yeah, that does it, y'all. Until next time, happy DIYing, y'all.